Hi, everybody. I am so happy to welcome you to Reiki Works. I'm Rebecca Austill-Clausen, and today we're going to discover your natural healing ability and explore afterlife communication. We have close to 300 people registered for Reiki Works, and this is being recorded, so it'll be great fun for those that aren't here to be able to see the recording. At this point, I am so happy and thrilled to introduce my wonderful co-host, Christina Gavalis-Valdivia. Christina is a wonderful occupational therapist at Northwell Health in New York. And she's also a graduate OT student in an advanced certificate program for low vision rehab. Christina, please take it away and do your magic. Thank you so very much.
Thanks, Rebecca. Welcome everyone to this special webinar with Rebecca Austill-Clausen. We're so glad that you're joining us for this live online event, Reiki Works, Discover Your Natural Healing Ability and Explore Afterlife Communication. We are overjoyed that you're here. My name is Christina Gavalis-Valdivia, and I'll be your co-host for this webinar and supporting Rebecca as we go through this amazing content. Rebecca will explain how you can use your own energy to help heal yourself and others, along with facilitating communication with your deceased loved ones. First, we just have a few housekeeping items before we get started. And if you're just joining us, welcome. Many of you are probably familiar with Zoom by now, but I wanted to review some things before we begin. You'll be muted upon entering this webinar. Please leave yourself muted to avoid any background noise. There is a chat box that you can open at any time during the course to engage with each other. After the first hour of teaching, we'll dive right into the Q&A session where you'll have plenty of time to ask Rebecca specific questions. This will also be a time to share. Please place your questions in the Q&A box, not in the chat box, and I will ask your question to Becky during the Q&A session. If you have any technical issues, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll put my email into the chat box for you now. Let's see. All right, it's there for you guys. I think it's also in the email that you got for confirming today. If you are experiencing any technical issues with Zoom, it might be your internet connection. My suggestion would be to log out of Zoom and log back in if this happens. You can also send me a direct chat message and I can try to help you troubleshoot any issues. First, let's have some fun with the chat box. Go ahead and type in where you're joining us from. Let's see, everyone. We have New York, Harlem, Pennsylvania, Colorado, Virginia, California, Georgia, Massachusetts, all over, Texas, Canada. We're international. Wow, we have people from all over the country attending today, so welcome again. If you have a question midway through the webinar, please use the Q&A button only to add your questions and not to the chat box. The chat box is mostly for sharing information with each other. Now that our housekeeping items are out of the way, I'm excited to introduce you to Rebecca Austill-Clausen, our speaker. Rebecca Austill-Clausen is a Reiki master, occupational therapist, and award-winning author. She is the first person to provide Reiki certificate training at numerous American Occupational Therapy Association annual conferences, the International Association for Near-Death Studies annual conference, and at multiple university programs. Rebecca has provided Reiki for over 25 years, training thousands of medical professionals and all others how to utilize Reiki's natural healing benefits. And now I'll hand it over to your special guest and host, Rebecca.
Oh, Christina, you're so pleasant. You are so fun to collaborate with. Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody, to Reiki Works. Thank you for being here. It is absolutely wonderful to have you here, and I am so excited to share my 26-year journey with Reiki, a natural energy healing modality that can be activated in one day. Come join me as we delve into 3 keys of Reiki energy. In Reiki Works, discover your natural healing ability and explore afterlife communication. So let's get started. I first became a Reiki practitioner in 1996. That was 26 years ago. I'd like to share with you how I learned about Reiki. My 37-year-old brother David had passed the year before. I believe everything in life is positive, and I could find nothing positive about the fact that he died. 8 weeks later, I was riding my horse through a Christmas tree farm in Chester County, Pennsylvania, and it was a beautiful day. I mention this because it was the first time that I opened my heart up to anything other than grief. I thanked the universe for a glorious day. I closed my eyes, and there was my brother David. David was wearing a black and red plaid flannel shirt, dungarees, and sandals. I started talking with him. I'm like, holy mackerel, David, how are you doing? And then I realized within a split second that all I had to do was share thought. And he was good and I was great. I'm like, oh my gosh, I had never, ever, ever done anything like this before, never heard about it, never experienced it. I was not psychic and I did not have any spiritual awareness. I looked to the right, and there were both my grandparents, Abe and Bessie Dole, that had passed about 10 years ago. Also beside them was one of our closest family friends, Edward, who had passed about 6 months ago, and a friend of mine, Holly, who had passed about 20 years ago in a motor vehicle accident. On a hill, there was about 24 other people that had also passed. The story goes on, but it was the first time that I believed that life was eternal. It was absolutely an incredible revelation. I wanted to figure out how I could do this again. I looked for a teacher to continue communicating with my brother, David. I found a shaman. She taught me how to continue communicating with David, and she used Reiki as part of her process. I'm a science-based occupational therapist, and I knew no one that was exploring the afterlife or using Reiki at the time. A wise occupational therapist friend of mine, Dr. Michael Peasy, who at the time was president of the New York OT Association, and I was president of the Delaware OT Association, and then I became vice president of all the state OT presidents, which was a total blast. Anyway, Michael was hosting a state-of-the-art holistic conference. It was a 4-day conference the first year after my brother passed. Now remember, this was 1996 and holistic and integrative healthcare services were in their early infancy. I saw that Anne Marie McClintock, occupational therapist, was teaching Reiki at this same holistic conference. I knew I was getting a bit far out in my afterlife explorations and spirituality thoughts, but the fact that both Dr. Michael Peasy and Anne Marie McClintock were occupational therapists provided me with the validity that I needed to continue exploring these mind, body, and spiritual connections. I learned Reiki and discovered I was calmer, my grief reduced, and my stress headaches disappeared. Quite frankly, I do need to say that I wondered about Reiki for 2 to 3 years before embracing the concepts. I thought, how can something so profound be learned in one day? Yet, I felt different. I was more relaxed. I was open to learning about myself and what makes me tick. I tried Reiki with a few of my clients after I asked their permission, because we always want to ask permission before we share energy. I practiced Reiki with my family and friends. I was astounded to see how rapidly the healing occurred. People's hearts opened up and they became more positive and self-reflected about their situations. People who received Reiki were able to look at what was happening to them in an objective and clear manner. Their pains and aches reduced, and in many cases, they disappeared. So my vision for our time here on Earth is this. I envision a world where people can heal themselves, assist clients, family, friends, colleagues, and even their pets to heal. And afterlife communication is facilitated by our expanded vibrational energy. I've been delighted to teach thousands of people about the joy of Reiki. As Christina mentioned, I'm delighted to be the first person to teach Reiki at the American OT Association annual conference starting in 2015, and have received an invitation to continue teaching Reiki at all their in-person conferences, including the one coming up in San Antonio end of March this year. I teach Reiki at medical universities and for medical practitioners, educators, and students, including OTs, physical therapists, nurses, social work, psychology, physicians, and all others interested in learning how we can heal ourselves and assist others to heal too. As Christina mentioned, I'm also thrilled to be the first person to teach certificate-provided Reiki at the International Association for Near-Death Studies annual conference, and that was in 2021. And I'm delighted to have received an invitation to do it again in 2022. It's going to be early September or late August, and that's a one-day Reiki Level one-day Reiki Level 1 conference. So let's explore 3 keys to Reiki empowerment. Reiki is a spiritual practice of awareness. It's not religious. Our body is composed of energy. Energy flows through meridians, which are energetic pathways in our body. It reminds me of our nervous system. Once Reiki energy enters our body, our mind directs it to wherever it's needed. It helps cleanse us physically, release disharmony, and enhance self-healing. Reiki helps bring our body back to health by balancing our physical needs, such as resolving pain, stress, and anxiety, while increasing our sense of self-worth. There's a very good recent 2019 study affiliated with Harvard and published in the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine by Daya. It's my Boston accent, which you've already heard. I do live in Pennsylvania, but I grew up in Boston, so it's D-Y-E-R. And so anyway, the study is by Daya, Baldwin, and Rand. And this study analyzed the effects of a single session of Reiki provided to 1,411 people all across the United States by 99 Reiki masters. And these Reiki masters were all trained the same way. Statistically significant results occurred with a reduction in pain, nausea, anxiety, shortness of breath, and an increase in well-being with just one session of Reiki. Sounds almost too good to be true, and this is the recent 2019 study. Many physical ailments have their roots in emotional discomfort. Reiki helps us use our own healing energy to bring comfort and wellness to ourselves, to our family, friends, colleagues, pets, clients, and even plants. Reiki helps balance our mind, body, and spirit. People that are Reiki practitioners primarily use their hands placed gently or slightly above the person, or we beam energy if we're using the internet. It helps the energy to move where it's needed. The concept is that energy flows through the universe and enters our own body during self-healing. As Reiki practitioners, we always ask for the client's highest good to be received. Thus, if we're providing Reiki to our family, friends, clients, colleagues, or pets, the Reiki energy from the universe flows through us. We're like an empty bamboo rod. It flows through us and to the client or to the person that we are sending Reiki to. If we're working with that client or family member, it's their own energy that does the healing, not ours. The way it works is that each one of us have healing energy within us. Every single one of us has the ability to heal ourselves. So let's try this technique now. And I always say, when I give you a recommendation, if it doesn't feel right, just do whatever you want. But this is my recommendation. I encourage you to close your eyes. So if you can take a deep breath, breathe in and breathe out, and breathe in and breathe out. And then place your hands, you're welcome to open your eyes now. Place your hands in front of you and start rubbing them. And rub them, for a little bit here. Now, place your hands 1 or 2 inches away from each other. Ask for energy to fill the space, and you may see your hands start to expand. Energy's filling the space, and if it's not, take a deep breath. Maybe close your eyes, calm yourself, center yourself, and rub your hands again. open your eyes, or you don't even have to open your eyes. Place them 1 or 2 inches apart and let them move of their own volition. Now place your hands on your heart. What you're doing is you're receiving love from the universe. You're sharing it with yourself. You can do this anytime you want. You can do this to help yourself reduce stress, gain a little bit of energy, calm yourself before an important meeting. Place your hands on your heart after you felt that healing energy. People definitely feel relaxed and have reduced stress after a Reiki treatment. During our current pandemic production, which still seems to be continuing, I started providing Reiki online. Quite frankly, I did wonder how effective it was going to be. I've been astounded at how well Reiki works through the internet. During one of my first online Reiki treatments, I was sending and beaming Reiki to a client that I'd never met before. And it seemed like she had a pain in her right knee. So I took my yellow pad, I always have yellow pads, took my yellow pad and wrote down right knee pain. Now, she also was receiving the Reiki very well. And at one point, it felt like she was levitating above the bed. So that's what, because she was lying on her bed in the bedroom. And so that's what I also wrote, levitating above the bed. And so when we finished the session, I said, and I'd never met her before, "How are you doing?" And she said, "Gosh, when I started, I had a pain in my right knee, but I didn't tell you that, and it is gone." And so I hold up my yellow pad and said, where it says, right knee pain. So then she said, "I got so relaxed that it felt like I was dancing on air." I hold up the yellow pad again, and it said levitating above the bed. And that is how effective Reiki can be online. In Reiki Level 2, which is provided the day after Reiki Level 1, you learn how to provide Reiki long distance. In my opinion, using the internet is like providing long distance healing. Frankly, on a personal level, I find it easier to visualize the flow of energy and auras around a person when I use the internet. Reiki helps our mind and our soul become soothed. Reiki is a form of meditative awareness that places us in harmony with ourselves and the universe. Reiki has never, ever been found to harm a person. It can be easily used with other modalities such as cranial sacral therapy, therapeutic touch, healing touch, acupuncture, acupressure, shiatsu, reflexology, course meditation, and a host of others. Reiki helps us recognize and use our own healing energy that is already available for you. In September 2016, my book Changemaker, How My Brother's Death Woke Up My Life, was published by She Writes Press. It describes the first year after my brother David passed, when I discovered the ability to communicate with him, learned Reiki, and became aware that there is more to this physical existence than I ever possibly imagined. It then took me 20 years to find the courage to share this adventure publicly. I sold my large rehabilitation private practice that I had started myself and fully owned for 32 years. And by that time, we had hundreds of therapists and thousands of clients. I sold it to my chief financial officer, Bob, specifically to share this journey that I'm having with the afterlife, as described in Changemaker and as we're talking about today. Frankly, I really was thinking I was going to be professionally ostracized and people would think that I had lost my mind. But that didn't happen, thank goodness. 6 months after Changemaker was published, my husband and I are visiting all the United States national parks, and we were in the whole rainforest. Now, do you know we have a rainforest in the United States? I had no idea, and it's an awesome rainforest. It's part of Olympic National Park, and that's in the state of Washington. It's about 4 hours northwest of Seattle. So I'm in the whole rainforest and I was looking at my email and it said, congratulations, Changemaker has just won 3 National Book Awards. Can you please come to the Book Expo of America in New York City and pick them up? And I'm like, all right, after death communication is hitting the mainstream. So I asked my husband to drive me to Seattle because I needed to get the right clothes. We were camping and I certainly did not have the right clothes to go to New York City. And I picked up my illustrator, Mickey McAllister, and we went to the Book Expo of America and had our few moments of fame. It was really quite exciting. Subsequently, Changemaker has won 2 more book awards. And I share this because Changemaker describes how I became introduced to Reiki. It's important to follow your heart. It's important to allow yourself to dream, to trust that you know what is best for you, to learn that you can heal yourself and you can help others heal and reduce their pain. One of the fastest ways you can do this is to learn Reiki, the use of natural energy healing. And you can learn it in 1 day. Changemaker course is available from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, indie bookstores nationwide. So key number 1, recognize and use your own healing energy that is already available for you. Our body has 7 major energy centers called chakras. Now that is the Boston accent, so let me say it again, called chakras, C-H-A-K-R-A-S. Each chakra has their own color as displayed on the slide. I love it. It's colors of the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Each chakra denotes a specific energetic quality. Sometimes our chakras need to be cleansed or cleaned out because energy can get stuck in a particular site, which can cause us pain, emotional distress, or an inability to move forward to fulfill the dreams we have for ourselves. When you learn Reiki, you can feel the flow of energy. You can detect when energy is moving freely or when it remains stuck in one place, whether it's on you or on others. During Reiki training, you learn to experience a flow of smoothly moving energy and how it feels when energy needs to be released. Let's experience the feel of energy again. I've used this technique a lot, but now I'm adding an adaptation described in Nicholas Pearson's wonderful book. It's called Foundations of Reiki Ryoho, and it's listed on the bottom of this slide. First, take a couple of deep breaths. Close your eyes if you like. Center yourself and calm yourself. And then again, place your hands in front of you, just like we did before, and rub them together. Open your eyes and release them. Now, what we're doing in this energy exercise is we're forming an energy ball. You may want to bring your hands a little bit closer again so that you can really feel that energy. And then smooth out the top, smooth out the top, smooth out the bottom. This is energy from the universe. It's filled with love. It's filled with your intention. And when you're ready, send it to the universe. Just send it outward with your love. See if you can release your mind and just let it go. And if you're not seeing or feeling the energy, don't worry. Don't worry at all. It definitely gets better when you learn Reiki. If you decide to pursue Reiki training, this activity will become much easier. We all have energy inside our bodies and outside our bodies because energy is all around us. What happens with Reiki is that your energetic awareness becomes activated during what's called a Reiki Attunement. That's a lovely ritual that activates your own Reiki energy. Some people call it a Reiki initiation. Some people call it a Reiki activation, but really what it's called is a Reiki Attunement. We all have energy that we can use to help heal ourselves and others. And if we're healing and energy needs to be released or moved, that's what we learn how to do. As mentioned, Reiki practitioners primarily use their hands to help move that natural healing energy for our family, for ourselves, for our clients, our colleagues, our pets, and plants. When you have a Reiki attunement, which activates your own Reiki energy, your ability to heal yourself and to help others heal dramatically increases. And I do realize this sounds almost too good to be true, yet Reiki works. By discovering how to feel energy in ourselves and others, we can release energy that is stuck and therefore achieve a sense of wellness and health, which is key number 2. I am so thrilled to introduce an upcoming program called Reiki Immersion Online. One-day natural energy healing training classes that are offered on the weekend, either on a Saturday or a Sunday, coming up this March. A certificate in the Usui form of natural energy healing will be provided for all that attend this 6.0 contact hour, one-day training program. A wonderful teacher by the name of Miko Usui is known throughout his home country of Japan as Sensei Usui. Sensei is an honorable title used in Japan for individuals that demonstrate significant mastery of a concept. Miko Usui is the founder of the Usui form of Reiki treatment that millions of people around the world are using. I'm delighted to share a snapshot of my one-day Reiki training program with you that I've developed over the past 26 years of Reiki exploration. And then we'll return to the third key of Reiki, learn how Reiki enhances afterlife communication. During my one-day Reiki training session, discover how Reiki increases your awareness, expands healing abilities for medical professionals and all others, and increases your after-death communication receptivity. Let me show you quickly just an overview of what happens in Reiki Immersion online. As mentioned, you can learn it in one day. For 2 to 3 years after I became trained, I'm like, how can this be true? How can I learn this in one day? But you can. I wrestled with the concept of one-day training while at the same time I felt better than I ever had in my whole life. I received clarity and a self-awareness that I'd never experienced before. I learned to calm myself. I learned meditation. I always had stress headaches and used to take 4 to 6 extra strength Excedrin every day. My headaches disappeared when I learned Reiki. I found my inner core. I finally figured out what made me tick. Reiki provides us with self-knowledge and a self-awareness that is deep and heartfelt. In Reiki Level 1, which is offered on a Saturday in March, you're introduced to the Reiki philosophy as developed by Miko Usui, the founder of the Usui form of natural energy healing. Sensei Miko Usui was born in 1865 and he passed in 1926. During Reiki Level 1, you'll learn self-healing, since we all need to heal ourselves in order to help others heal. If you're a healthcare worker, including OT, PT, nursing, psychology, social work, medical practitioner, educator, or student, or anyone else interested in learning how to self-heal and heal others, you discover why and how it's appropriate for therapists and medical practitioners to include Reiki in our sessions. In Reiki Level 1, I am always honored to provide an individual Reiki attunement to activate your own energy. An expansion of intuitive awareness begins with your Reiki attunement. You provide Reiki to 3 different one-on-one partners, and we use Zoom breakout rooms. And so 3 different times during the day, you'll have one-on-one partners where you receive and share Reiki, along with discussing with just that one partner. Then we come back as a big group, and then you discuss again with the big group. And so there's 3 different partners. And by the end of the day, Reiki Level 1, you'll have learned how to self-heal and feel the energetic differences in 3 different people. There's lots of sharing, questions and answers, and group discussions, with, of course, plenty of breaks. And they occur in large and small groups before our lovely closing ceremony at the end of the day. And a variety of sound healing experiences are provided. I always give multiple handouts and a boutique of books and resources through our online class portal. Once our co-host Christina and I look at the attendance records, you'll receive your Reiki Level 1 Yasui certificate in natural energy Reiki healing. I'm also thrilled to say that 6.0 contact hours are approved for any occupational therapy practitioner, educator, or student by the National Board for Certification of OT. In 1 day of training, after attending Reiki Level 1, your Reiki energy will be activated, you'll have learned self-healing, and you'll be able to provide Reiki to your family, friends, clients, colleagues, pets, and even plants. The day after Reiki Level 1, I'm offering Reiki Level 2, and it's on a Sunday in March. In Reiki Level 2, you learn why Reiki works. For those of you, which I think is most of us, that need to understand why and how something happens, I highly recommend that you take the 1 day Reiki Level 2 class also. You don't have to, but I do recommend it. Taking Reiki Level 1 and Reiki Level 2 in the same weekend, in my opinion, is the ideal way to learn Reiki. First, your own energy becomes activated in Reiki Level 1. Then you receive knowledge about why and how it works in Reiki Level 2. There are 3 primary symbols, which are Japanese letters used in Reiki. Millions of people use these same 3 symbols. These symbols are filled with power due to the incredible amount of healing energy that is directed at these symbols. Thought has energy. Positive thought has positive energy. Positive thoughts about the same concept, such as millions of people using these same 3 symbols, facilitates a positive, energetic, healing reaction. You learn to use these 3 symbols in Reiki Level 2. You discover how and when to implement them. Reiki Level 2 also teaches us new hand positions to help you move Reiki, accentuate energetic restoration, and strengthen the natural flow of healing energy within us. In Reiki Level 2, you learn additional modalities to include with Reiki, including how to incorporate the healing energy of crystals. We have a really fun exercise that we do with crystal energy. Crystals have tremendous energy. They power our computers, radio, and TV. And crystals also have a spiritual, energetic component. You also learn long-distance healing and receive numerous, again, suggested Reiki resources, handouts, references, books, recommended products, all from the Reiki Level 2 class portal. 3 sound healing sessions are spread throughout the day and include me playing my beautiful set of ametrine crystal singing bowls, a wonderful percussion instrument called Free Notes, and then a delightful, hard-to-find vibrational instrument called the Hung. Once again, you experience Reiki from 3 different one-on-one partners using Zoom breakout rooms. So if you end up taking Reiki Level 1 and Level 2 together, within 2 days, you're going to have the experience of receiving and sharing Reiki energy with 6 different people. It's really quite extraordinary. You really do learn how to heal yourself and recognize the healing energy and what needs to be moved in 6 different people. In order to attend Reiki Level 2, you do need to please send me your Reiki Level 1 certificate from any Reiki master prior to class, unless you've just taken Reiki Level 1 with me the day before. Again, 6.0 contact hours are approved for occupational therapy practitioners, educators, and students by the National Board for Certification of OT for this Reiki Level 2 class. A Reiki Level 2 certificate in the Yasui form of Reiki Natural Energy Healing will be sent as soon as Christina and I compare the attendance records. So you do need to stay throughout. If you have at least 6 months of Reiki experience after receiving your Reiki Level 2 certificate, you're welcome to consider applying to the Reiki Master Level 3 course. And that's being taught the following Saturday after Reiki Level 1 and Reiki Level 2. I do require a one-to-one interview with me before you can actually register for the Reiki Master course. You can make an appointment for the Reiki Master interview by going to my website coaching page, which is on the very bottom of this slide. It's just my name, Austill-Clausen.com/coaching, and you'll see a section there that talks about the Reiki Master interview. Reiki Master Level 3 provides a special Reiki Master attunement that opens up your heart even further. If you look at this, I love this slide. If you look at this beautiful Reiki Master slide, you can visualize the power of Reiki. Look at the brilliant white light in the center of the person, which to me denotes the stunning Reiki energy of our heart that beams beautiful energetic vibrancy to us all. In Reiki Master Training, you learn how to establish your own Reiki private practice, whether it's in the community or in a medical center. You discover how to teach and attune people interested in taking Reiki classes from you. Multiple scientific research citations are provided and discussed. Additional advanced clinical techniques are presented that expand your Reiki Master abilities. In order to attend, I do need a copy of your Reiki Level 1 and Reiki Level 2 certificates before attending class, please. Experiential sessions with other Reiki Masters also occurs during this 6.0 contact hour course, again approved by the National Board for Certification in OT for 6.0 contact hours for any OT practitioner, educator, and student. At the very end of the Reiki Master class is a lovely closing ceremony, and you receive your Reiki Master certificate and attunement as soon as Christina and I check the attendance records. I'm almost finished, and then we'll go back to the third key of Reiki Works, which is discover how Reiki enhances afterlife communication. For each of the Reiki Level 1, Level 2, and Reiki Master Level 3 classes, you receive 1 day of live training with questions and answers and interactive components generously spread throughout the whole day. Multiple partners will receive and share Reiki with you on a one-to-one basis. A certificate will be received after we review attendance. 6.0 contact hours are available from the National Board for Certification for each one of the classes. 3 downloadable sound healing MP4 video and audio sound meditative experiences are available and provided. You'll be offered the opportunity to join Rebecca's Reiki Facebook community. A boutique of suggested books and products, along with dozens of supportive research article listings and resources, are provided to expand your Reiki awareness. Multiple handouts are provided. Downloadable PowerPoint slides are provided. And discount Reiki immersion rates are available for those that decide to attend both Reiki Level 1 and Reiki Level 2 at the same weekend. Discounts are also available for people that have attended my 2020 or 2021 After Death Communication 7-week program. A new expanded After Death Communication workshop will be provided this fall that includes 2 additional guest speakers. The After Death Communication Workshop will be held on just 1 weekend. It's going to be November 5th and 6th, 2022. So stay tuned for further information. An email was already sent to all those that attended the After Death Communication 7-week course on how you can use your special bonus coupon so that you can receive a discount for attending Reiki. During the past 2 years, I am thrilled to share that 100% of those that attended this After Death Communication course said that they believe they could receive and share communication with their deceased loved ones living beyond. Registration for Reiki Immersion online is now open. You can see the link on the top of the slide. It's again just my name, Rebecca, Austill-Clausen.com/Reiki-Immersion. Reiki Level 1 is being held on Saturday, March 5th from 12 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 9 to 4 Pacific. Reiki Level 1 is where your Reiki energy becomes activated. Reiki Level 2 is held the following day on Sunday, March 6th from 12 to 7 Eastern, 9 to 4 Pacific. During Reiki Level 2, you understand why and how Reiki works, which can help calm our questioning minds. For advanced Reiki practitioners with at least 6 months of Reiki experience after receiving their Reiki Level 2 certificate from any Reiki master, a special Reiki Master training program is being offered the following weekend on Saturday, March 12th, from again 12 to 7 Eastern, 9 to 4 Pacific. Reiki Master candidates, as mentioned, do need to set up a one-to-one interview with me, please. And again, that link is RebeccaAustill-Clausen.com/coaching. At the Reiki Master Level 3 class, you receive an additional Reiki Master Attunement and expand your Reiki mastery. Registration is open now for those one-day empowering Reiki training classes designed to enhance your own healing abilities. Let's now explore the third key of Reiki. Key number 3, why Reiki, often called unconditional love, opens communication channels with your deceased loved ones. In 2017, I was asked to teach Reiki Level 1 to the entire class of graduating OT students at Duquesne University. Duquesne partnered with the Pennsylvania Occupational Therapy Program. It was the Pittsburgh chapter. And so in one weekend, what happened was 70 people received training in Reiki Level 1. 20% of 70 people, that's 15 people, had after-death communication experiences. Most had never had that happen before, and most had never even heard the word Reiki. When I walked in, it was on a Friday, and I walked into Duquesne OT program. And for my in-person classes, it's always set up in a lovely spa type environment, so it can relaxes people. So I said, how many of you are familiar with Reiki? And not one person raised their hand. And I'm like, whoa, this is going to be interesting. And it was that weekend, that day and the following day, where a total of 15 people had communication from their grandparents, their uncles, their aunts, their siblings, their parents. It was that had passed on. It was really quite extraordinary. It was an incredible validating weekend that yes, Reiki does enhance after-death communication. In 2019, just a couple of years ago, it was right before the pandemic, I was asked to teach an after-death communication workshop at Lily Dale Assembly, the oldest and largest spiritualist community of mediums and psychics in the United States. It's located close to Erie, and it's called Lily Dale Assembly. I was delighted to learn that Reiki is provided for free every single day at Lily Dale in the Lily Dale Healing Temple. With 20%, 15 people of the 70 attendees having after-death communication experiences when I taught Reiki at Duquesne University, and Lily Dale, the largest community of psychics and mediums in the United States, also providing free Reiki. To me, it demonstrates that Reiki absolutely facilitates communication with loving souls that live beyond the veil. The reason this occurs is that using Reiki expands your vibrational energy. Your bodily awareness and vibrational frequency is elevated, and your aura, the energy that surrounds us, expands. Reiki broadens our mind and allows you to believe that there is more to our earthly existence than just physical reality. Reiki facilitates a soul-to-soul connection. Your mind, body, and soul open up to the incredible oneness and connectedness of life. Reiki enhances your ability to receive and share love from your deceased loved ones. I've been receiving messages and communicating with my brother David for 26 years. It's really a wonderful way to continue our relationship with our loved ones. Reiki has absolutely enhanced my ability to receive and share communication with my loved ones living beyond. And I had never, ever done this before my brother passed. As an occupational therapist and a medical professional, when I use Reiki with my clients, I am concentrating on helping my clients heal. I usually don't receive messages from my clients' deceased loved ones, particularly when I'm working in a medical-based setting. Yet, when I provide Reiki to myself, I'm wide open to receive positive, caring messages of love from those that have passed beyond the veil. Key number 3, Reiki, often called unconditional love, opens communication channels with your deceased loved ones. I hope you found this free Reiki Works webinar, Discover Your Natural Healing Ability and Explore Afterlife Communication, to be enjoyable and thought-provoking. The concept of learning Reiki and discovering your natural healing ability in one day is quite amazing. I've been practicing and teaching the joys of Reiki for 26 years, and Reiki works. Everything I have shared with you is absolutely true. Everything is possible for you if you allow yourself to consider, and you don't have to believe, but just be open to the concept that we all have energy within us and around us that can be used for healing. Acknowledging this energy and activating it through a Reiki attunement can expand your natural healing abilities. Love is the strongest and most powerful emotion of all. Reiki, often called unconditional love, helps us discover who we are and how we can love ourselves. Once we learn self-healing, it enables us to be better Reiki practitioners, parents, relatives, friends, partners, colleagues, pet owners, and plant lovers, because we're not looking for love outside ourselves. Reiki enables us to share love with ourselves and others. Plus, it can be learned in a day. You can sign up for any of my Reiki Immersion online, Reiki Level 1, Reiki Level 2, or Reiki Master Level 3 classes coming up this March by using the address on the top of this screen, RebeccaRostallClausen.com/Reiki-Immersion. And actually, if you sign up now, there's an early sign-on registration bonus. I've created an easily downloadable MP4 video and audio that's called Reiki Guided Meditation. It's about 16 minutes long and is designed specifically for early bird registrants of our Reiki Immersion online program. Thank you. Thank you so much for attending Reiki Works, Discover Your Natural Healing Ability and Explore Afterlife Communication free webinar. I'm now going to turn this back to our wonderful Zoom co-host, Christina Gavalis-Valdivia, who will serve as our awesome moderator for the question and answer period that will continue until about 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Feel free to ask me anything you want. If you have additional questions or maybe just don't want to talk in a group, feel free to email me. And my email's on the slide. It's just Becky@RebeccaAustill-Clausen.com. So thank you. Thank you all so very much. And back to you, Christina.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. What a great presentation. Let's jump right into the Q&A. If you have a question and you haven't put it in the box yet, make sure you add it to the Q&A box, not in the chat box, and I'll ask it to Rebecca for you. Before we start, Becky, I just want to let you know there are some comments that you had a lovely presentation. Everyone is thrilled to see you. And someone is reading Nick Pearson's book as well and thinks it's fabulous.
It is fabulous. Hey, that's great. You know, I know Nicholas, and he's been a guest speaker for us, talking about crystal energy a number of times. He is fantastic. I encourage you to read. I think he has 6 crystal books. And so the Reiki books are great. And let me just tell you a little story about Nicholas. So I was at the International New Age Trade Show, and it's held in Denver, Colorado, early June. It's happening this year as well. And Nicholas was there talking about crystals. So I went to a presentation that he gave, and then I bought his book and was getting ready for him to sign it. And this is one on crystals. And I said, Nicholas, I'm so pleased with your information. And I use crystals in my Reiki training classes. And he looks at me and he says, you do know that I've written a book on Reiki, don't you? And I'm like, no, I don't. And so I proceeded to buy every single book that he had, and he signed every single one. And he is fabulous. In my opinion, he's the hottest thing out there as far as crystals. He's very learned about Reiki. He's very, he has very traditionally trained information, and his workshops are excellent. So that's a little plug for Nicholas, and I'm thrilled you're reading his book.
Thank you, Becky. Next, we have the first question is from Susan. They're wondering if they're able to see the recording if she can't stay for the whole thing.
Yes. I've had a ton of people say, can you please send me the recording because I can't come today? And I thought, let me just offer this again. And so, yes, you absolutely are going to get the recording. We are going to offer this again next Saturday. And it's going to be, I think it's Saturday, February 12th, same time, 1 to 2:30 p.m. You just have to register for Reiki Works, and you'll get the information in the Zoom message and such. And then for a couple of days after that, that's when the recording is going to be sent out. So everybody that's here or everybody that's registered, yes, you will be able to get the recording.
Thank you. Our next question is from Jamie. They're wondering if you can repeat the name of the Harvard study, and I can put it in the chat as well.
Yep, it's good. It's and you'll get this if you register, you'll get this. But anyway, it's 2019. And it's called 2019 Large Scale Reiki Study by Dyer, D-Y-E-R, Baldwin, B-A-L, Bald, B-A-L-D-W-I-N, and Rand, R-A-N-D. And it's available, like you'll get it. And it's excellent. I've been a Reiki master, or I've been Reiki practitioner for 26 years, and I've been waiting for something like this, and it's good. And it's the largest large-scale study that's been done on Reiki to my knowledge, and it's finally validating that a single session of Reiki reduces pain, anxiety, stress, depression, shortness of breath, increases our sense of well-being just with one session. And all the Reiki masters, they had 99 Reiki masters across the country, were all trained the same way. So they tried to reduce the variables there, and it's a good study. So yes.
Thank you, Becky. And I did put that in the chat as well, if anyone wanted to copy it down.
Excellent.
Our next question is from Michaela. They're
Michaela. Hi, Michaela. Oh, great.
They said they work with young children, so they can't really ask permission for Reiki. She was wondering if she can use energetic permission.
Well, that is a very interesting question. So I've been a pediatric OT my entire life. So that's like 45 years or whatever. And this is how I recommend doing it with kids. If you're working in the school system or in your early intervention program or whatever, you must, and I say that really, organizationally, you must get permission from whoever is the director of the program. Like if you're in the schools, the director is the director of special ed. So you want to explain why you want to use Reiki or energy healing. And so that's the first thing. First, you want to get that permission achieved. In my strong recommendation is also to get permission from the parents of the child, because even though Reiki is not religious, and it's not religious, it is considered a spiritual practice, and everybody is here on this earth to live life the way they want. And so you just want to be careful that you're not overstepping your bounds. And so then once you get the director of special ed or early intervention director or whatever permission, then you want to talk to the parents and explain why you would like to do this. Quite frankly, Reiki works excellent with kids with autism, ADD, and ADHD, which is hyperactivity. It is really quite something. And traditional Reiki sessions last about 30 minutes. With kids, you can have a very effective session with 10 minutes or even 5 minutes. Like, they get it. And so you've got the permission from the director of special ed, then you get the permission from the parent, then you ask the child, because the child wants to be able to say yay or nay. And you say, hey, would you like to learn how to help heal yourself? And if they don't want to do that, then you say, okay. Like, if somebody says no, I don't encourage engaging at all, because I just say, okay, thanks, thank you. And then maybe they'll come back. So you can get the permission from all of those, and I highly recommend that you do. If the child is too young, say you're in a NICU program, neonatal intensive care, or you're working with someone that's in a coma, or you're working with hospice or someone that's not around you, then what happens is, in Reiki Level 2, you learn long distance healing. And how do you send permission to someone that's unable to answer? And you learn how to send it, ask the question, receive the answer, and then you'll know whether you can send it or not. So that was a long-winded answer to your question, but you can ask permission. And it is rarely do you get a no. Like, rarely do you get a no, even when you're doing long distance healing. But, sometimes it happens, and it's totally fine, because, that's just what people want to do. But it is healing. It's such an honor to be allowed into a person's energetic healing field, that it's really very lovely for you to want to provide healing to children. And it seriously works. It's quite exciting. And when I'm preparing for this and I'm reading all this, I'm like, gosh, Becky, I sound like such a PR person, but it has been life changing. And you can learn it in one day, which is just, to me, it's quite astounding, but you do need to practice. And so after you learn it, you practice, but yes, it can be done. So I hope that answers helping you, and thank you for being here.
And Becky, there was a follow-up question to that from Jen. They're wondering if you would handle permission the same way for a pet.
For a pet? Oh, yeah. Pets is a cool little story I have about a pet. I have a number of stories about pets. It's so interesting to me that almost every single time I provide Reiki, if I'm doing it online, doing a Reiki treatment or, whatever, the pet comes into the room. The pet climbs on the bed. The pet goes where the client is. It is so interesting. I had a knee replacement a couple of years ago, and I walked into the PT office, and it was in the PT, fantastic PT, and she was in her home, and the dog comes right up to me, puts his right hip right by my hands, and the PT came out and she says, oh, he definitely wants you to give him Reiki healing energy. I'm like, wow, that's really interesting. With what you do with pets is you open your heart. So you open your heart, you open your heart, and you ask them. You open your heart and ask them with love, and you can ask them with intention. Would you like me to send you Reiki healing energy? And most likely, because of the love that is emanating from your heart, if they're ready, they'll come over. It really is quite something. And then I'm always careful not to be, when I'm around pets, to not make them skittish. And so I just very slowly, first I say, thank you so much. And then, I'll gently put my hands on the pet, and they'll move to where the pain is. You'll feel it. Like, once you get this, you'll feel it in a second where the pain is. I was, it was in the middle of COVID. I guess it was last year in the middle of COVID. And it was actually right about this time. And there was a neighbor of ours, Alan, and today's his birthday. I don't know if he's on. He said he might not be on because it's his birthday. But anyway, his dog was named Cupcake. And he said, hey, Beck, we were walking around the neighborhood. And he said, can you please provide Reiki to Cupcake? And it was right about now. So I was doing the Reiki Works and fairly busy. And plus it was COVID and I didn't really know and all that. And I said, Alan, how about if you do it? And he's a very spiritual fellow. And, quite frankly, what happened was I attuned him right on the spot, which normally I don't do because it's good to know what you're getting into and the history and philosophy and all that. He gave Reiki to Cupcake, who he thought was going to pass in a couple of weeks all the time. And Cupcake lasted for a year and she just passed. And it was so amazing to see Cupcake practically run around. She wasn't running, but she was walking fast around the whole neighborhood when she used to struggle just to walk, a little bit. So it is quite effective. And you can use it with horses, certainly dogs, certainly cats. It is quite amazing how well it works. And again, you always ask because we don't want to overstep our bounds by offering energetic healing, because there is a whole philosophy within Reiki that we're never given too much that we can handle, and that it's the person's own journey. It's not ours. It's the person's own journey that allows them to grow. And if we just sort of run of the mill provide Reiki healing, maybe for some reason they need to slow down a little bit and process what's going on. Reiki does help with the processing, but you always want to ask. So that was a good question.
Thanks, Becky. And we have a few questions that maybe I'll ask them in steps. A lot of them are just about registering for the Reiki courses. For starters, some people are wondering if there's a discount code, even if you choose a payment plan option.
Yeah, there is. Let's see. We've got a couple of discount codes. One, no. If there's not a discount code, there's just a reduction in price if you register for Reiki Level 1 and Level 2. I do have single payments and monthly payments because I'm not here to make millions of dollars. I do need to professionally maintain what's going on and have a business mind and such. But the price is actually $179. That's how much it is for one class. And if you take Reiki Level 1 and Reiki Level 2, then the price is $310. Now, if that's a little too steep, you can pay that for the Reiki Level 1 and or Reiki Level 2 class, $65 a month. So you can pay $65 a month for 3 months. And then if you take Reiki Level 1 and Reiki Level 2 together, it's $105 for 3 months. And so I really try very hard to make this accessible to as many people as possible. Where the coupon codes come in is if you're a after-death communication participant. Because what happens for me is that I do Reiki training in the spring. And then in the fall, I provide after-death communication training. And so if you've attended after-death communication, Reiki is such an enhancer of increasing our ability to communicate with loved ones that have passed on. I want to give people a discount. So that's what that coupon code is. It's for people that have attended after-death communication. If you've attended, but you can't remember what the code is, because I sent the email a couple of weeks ago, just email me. But that's what the coupon code is. And so traditionally, if you have not attended my other things, you will have a lower price. This low price, $179 is actually very per class, and Reiki Masters is a little bit higher. Usually Reiki classes are anywhere from 200 to 250 to 300. I've seen them go to 350. I've seen them be 500. And so to me, $179 is reasonable. And so the discounted price is included in that. So hopefully that helps.
Thanks, Becky. The next question is from Jen. She's wondering when you have to register by to receive the MP4 that you mentioned.
Yep, I knew that was going to come up and I should have put it in there. It is a good question. Let's see. Early sign on. Okay, early sign on bonus ends at midnight on Saturday, February 19th. So at Eastern time, midnight Eastern time, February 19th. And then you'll get, it's a nice video. I sort of forgot. I mean, I did forget what it was because I I did it for last year's class. And I'm like, wow, this is actually helpful. And so it's a Reiki guided meditation. It's video, it's audio. You can download it. It's in the class portal. It comes right up. Like we've actually had a couple of people register already, and I was like looking at their emails, and it comes right on the email, so you get it immediately. And then there's a way you can download it from the class portal. So it's midnight Eastern time, Saturday, February 19th.
Thank you. Another question about the courses is from Robert. He's wondering if there are other dates in March where level 1 and 2 might be offered.
Hi, Robert. It's nice to hear from you. No, there aren't. Oh, well, I shouldn't say no. The way this is working is I'm doing Reiki Immersion online for Reiki Level 1, which is March 5th, Saturday, Reiki Level 2, which is March 6th on Sunday. And then Reiki Master is the following weekend on Saturday, March 12th. And then I'm going to be home for a week, and after a week, my husband and I are traveling in our RV down to San Antonio, Texas. And in San Antonio, Texas is the American Occupational Therapy Annual Conference, where I'm presenting Reiki Level 1 and Level 2 in person. So if you felt like going in person to San Antonio, Texas, you can get Reiki Level 1 on Wednesday, March 30th, and Reiki Level 2 on Thursday, March 31st, or you can just do Reiki Level 1. And so that's when that's happening. Reiki Level 1 is also going to be offered again in the fall. These are what's already been scheduled, is at the International Association for Near-Death Studies, and they're hopefully going to be in person in Salt Lake City. Just great fun. And that's going to be on either most likely August, sorry, I keep looking at my calendar, August 31st or September 1st. And so that's going to be in person. If for some reason it's not in person, that'll be online. So that's Reiki online. And I know you said March, but I wanted to give you the San Antonio dates, and then wanted to give you the fall date as well.
Thank you, Becky. Our next question is from Peter. He is wondering if it's the Healing Temple where Reiki is provided for free at Lilydale.
Yes. Hi, Peter. Yes, it is. You know, it was such an eye-opening experience to go to Lilydale. It's a blast. It really is great fun. It's about 15 blocks of psychics and mediums. And so I provide Reiki to hospice, and we have a group of us that decided to go to Lilydale. And so we're all Reiki masters, and it was about 4 blocks away from Lilydale, which is close to Erie, and you can start to feel the increased vibrational energy. It was amazing. And then you get there and it's like, whoa, like the whole energy of the place is really quite extraordinary, and there's all sorts of fun things. And I was thrilled to realize, I think it's like 10 o'clock in the morning in the summer, they have this healing temple that's open and free to everybody, and they had they have like 10 different Reiki practitioners in the the front of the temple. It's not too ornate. It's very lovely, and they give you seated Reiki, and it's excellent. And then when you're with, one of the reasons why I like doing Reiki online and Reiki in groups is because the energy is so apparent. When you're doing Reiki with other people, you absolutely tap into that energetic flow. And so here you are in Lilydale, which is all these incredible mediums and psychics, and then you're receiving Reiki in the Reiki Healing Temple. It is quite extraordinary. It's not long, it's only about 5 minutes, but you can there's all sorts of ways you can get longer sessions and all of that. So I encourage you to check out Lily Deal if you like. It's really it's quite a blast.
Thank you, Becky. Next, we have an interesting question. It was offered by Breeze. They said they find meditation difficult due to constant tinnitus. Will that impede their ability to do Reiki?
Isn't that interesting? Actually, hi. It's nice to talk to you. Actually, I think it would be better. I think it would help your tinnitus. Is that how you say it? Tinnitus. That's ear ringing, I believe. And so you might want to try it and see if it reduces it. No, I have never heard that it is going to make it worse. I would think it would make it better, because Reiki cleanses our body. You know, it cleanses our energy, it cleanses our soul, it cleanses our mind, it lets us live with our heart. And tinnitus is tricky to have that all the time. And so it makes sense to me that you'd be able to use Reiki to help clear that up. So no, I don't think it would be impaired at all by taking Reiki. I have never, ever heard of Reiki harming somebody. Now, on that concept, I do recommend that people get physician's permission if someone has a pacemaker or seizures, because you want to just be careful. We're moving energy, and if someone has a pacemaker and we're providing Reiki, I do encourage that you get physician permission for that. But I've never heard of Reiki harming anybody with any diagnosis, which is an amazing statement.
Thank you. That was a good question. Our next question is from Inazaro. I hope I said that right. They are wondering if you can recommend helpful books on how and why Reiki works.
Oh, yeah. I have so many. Oh, my gosh. Let's see. If you take any of the Reiki classes, you're going to get about 10 per class, recommendations. I have just tons of them. So the one I use all the time is called the Essential Reiki, and it's by Diane Stein, Stein. That's what it's called, the Essential Reiki. Now, it's a little bit older. I think it's like 1994 or something. And that's what I use. And one of the reasons why I use it is I like to honor Diane. And Reiki, you may have heard that Reiki is very expensive. Reiki used to cost $10,000. Seriously, it cost $10,000. And it was set up at that price years ago because we in the United States value money. And if something is so valuable that it's going to cost $10,000, people will respect it even more. Well, Diane Stein is a wonderful author, and she's very skilled, and she's written about 35 books, primarily on healing, and also a lot of them are on women's issues. And for a couple of years, it was the early 1990s, she was receiving guidance from her guides that she should publish the Reiki symbols and how Reiki works. And she thought, oh my gosh, no, it hadn't been public until then. And I'm pretty sure her books, I think it's like 94 and 95 as far as publication date. And she's the first person that actually published them and published the symbols. And she has the whole thing, Reiki 1, Reiki 2, Reiki 3. And that's a really good one. A fun book is Raven Keyes on, let's see, Raven Keyes is, she's hilarious and very good and very fun, and she's a blast. And she's from New York, and her book is called The Healing Power of Reiki. And she does a pretty good explanation of why it works. The reason it's fun is because Raven was one of the main Reiki masters after 9/11. And she spent 6 to 9 months healing the first responders. And the stories she tells are really quite something and very validating. She also has provided Reiki to National Football League players, National Basketball League players. So it's a fun book. And so if you want to like have fun reading about Reiki, then I would recommend that one, The Healing Power of Reiki by Raven Keyes, Keyes. Now also Nicholas Pearson, Foundations of Reiki Ryoho, and that was on the slide. Ryoho is Ryoho, and it's Nicholas Pearson, Pearson. He has in my opinion, he has the best scientific explanation of why Reiki works. I usually recommend that book for like Reiki Level 2 or Reiki Master folks, because it does get quite scientific and technical, but man, it's good. And so hopefully those three will help.
Thank you, Becky. Next, we have a question from Vicky. They're just hoping you can speak to if anything is different, if you're already open to communication.
If you're already open to communication, all Reiki does is enhance what you're already doing. You mean communication with the afterlife? Is that what we're talking about?
Did not specify.
Okay, so Reiki's going to enhance it. It makes it easier. It brings, for me, it brings a connectedness to our current physical existence and afterlife awareness. I had zero psychic skills, zero, before my brother passed. And now I don't, now it's good. And I can communicate with people that have passed that I know, that I don't know, and all that. And I attribute that primarily to Reiki. And so if you're already doing this, Reiki's a wonderful way to enhance your mediumship skills. Now, I was talking to I did a Reiki Master interview yesterday, and the girl, very, very nice. And she said, Becky, I do cranial sacral therapy, and sometimes I can't differentiate it between Reiki. And I'm like, you don't need to differentiate it. It's all the same. It's all the same. It's all biofield energy modalities. That's what it is. It's our biofield, our scientific field energy modality. What is different about Reiki is the fact that it can be learned in one day because of the attunement. In my opinion, because of the attunement. And it's so amazing when you get attuned. When I attune people in person, and then I attune people online, it's the same answer. How are you feeling? I feel more relaxed. Sometimes my hands are tingling. Maybe I feel a little heat. It is incredible how many people have an immediate reaction to their energy being expanded. Even if you're already communicating, as you said, whether it's to the afterlife or internally. So energy, in my opinion, is the same. It's the same, but Reiki has a component of attunement, which makes it available to us in one day, if you want.
Thank you, Becky. And Vicky did chime into the comments and said, yes, that's what she was talking about. So thank you.
Yep. These are great questions. You're doing wonderful, Christina. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. We have a couple of more questions about Reiki Level 1 and 2. Anne was wondering how we prepare for the class. She wants to be at her best. She's had some grief this year.
First of all, Anne, I'm so sorry. So sorry about your grief and whatever it is. And please know that I'm sending you my love, compassion, and support. With that being said, I would, and I say this in the, when you sign up, you get an email that's called logistics, and it goes through some things that you might want to do. And what it does is it encourages you to get a good night's sleep the night before. There's nothing scary. There's nothing worrisome. There's nothing to be anxious about. You learn, you become attuned, you learn self-healing, you practice with others. And plus there's lovely sound healing during breaks, and it's a very nice, relaxing day filled with empowerment and joy and love. And the thing that you do is you hopefully learn how to love yourself and share that love with others. And so your grief actually, I would think, during one of your 3 one-on-one experiential sessions, and the first thing you learn is self-healing, I would think by the end of the day, you're going to be feeling a lot better and less filled with grief, and your heart will be open. And so as far as preparation, a good night's sleep, it's good to have water during the day because you're flushing out the energy. And so if you have water available to you throughout the day, that's good. I used to recommend no caffeine. And the first time I did that, I got a lot of pushback on it. And people are like, Becky, I've got a headache all day today because I need my caffeine. So if you can reduce the amount of caffeine you have, that probably would be good, but it doesn't really matter. Because if your body is used to having caffeine, just have it. I encourage you to eat healthy and to allow yourself to feel. Allow yourself to feel. You know, whether it's the grief, whether it's happiness, joy, communication, there's lots of chance to discuss one-on-one in a, nice one-on-one partnership with 3 different people or with me. And so those are the main things that I'd encourage you to do. Eat well, eat healthy, water, rest the night before, and get ready to enjoy the day.
Thank you, Becky. A few more questions about level 1 and 2. Rafi was wondering the days for level 1 and 2, will there be a general focus or connecting to life after?
Oh, hi, Rafi. Let's see. There's always a component, when I teach Reiki, there's always a component of connecting to the life after. There's definitely much more of connecting to the life after in level 2, because that's long distance healing. And so you'll get it more in level 2, but it's highly possible that loved ones can come through to you during Reiki level 1. Because this is a course, it's a course for medical practitioners and all others. I'm not teaching people to be mediums. I'm not doing that. What I'm doing is teaching people to be able to enhance your ability to receive and share communication with the afterlife. And like I said in one of the, I think it was Reiki level 2, most of the time when I'm doing Reiki with clients, I don't get communication from loved ones that have passed on, because I'm really not going in that direction. I'm going in how they can heal whatever their ailment is, which most of the time is physical. It doesn't have to be, but you can ask your guides. You can intend for communication to occur with the afterlife if you want. And so that's something that you could do on your own, or you could ask me. I wouldn't say there's a huge focus on it, but it's always discussed, and people are encouraged to be open to it. And in Reiki level 2, there's quite a bit more than in Reiki level 1. Hope that helped.
Thank you, Becky. Another question was from Betty. They said that they took Reiki 1 and 2 in the 90s. In the training method you mentioned, haven't used it in a while, and they've forgotten some of the symbols usage, stuff like that. They said it seems like it's best to start all over, and are wondering if you agree.
Oh yeah, people use this course as a refresher all the time. And now the coolest thing for me, one of the coolest things, is that once you're attuned with Reiki, it's always in you. And so by taking it again, you're going to jumpstart your refreshing ability. And there's a lot more that's happened, particularly research-wise, since the 1990s. Like I used to teach this in the 1990s, and a lot of it was trust your gut, trust your heart, but I didn't have the statistical data to support the concepts, and now we have it. And so there's quite a bit new that's happening since the 1990s, but the basic premise is the same. I have a lot of people that take either Reiki 1 and or Reiki 2, even Reiki Master, that have already been Reiki Masters, and they take it again. And it's totally fine. It's a good way to get back in the groove. And, it's really quite interesting, because with integrative health these days, integrative health, meaning a traditional medical component plus some type of complementary modality, that is considered the gold standard of care these days. And so it really has grown exponentially, particularly the last 5 years. So yes, I encourage you to take it again if you like.
Thank you. And then similar question from Ellen. She's wondering if it's possible to take Reiki Level 2 this year without doing Reiki Level 1, since she took that last year.
Oh yes. Oh, Ellen. Hi, Ellen. Yeah, absolutely. And if it's the Ellen Z, I already know that you already took it, and so you don't have to send me your certificate, because if you take it with me, you just have to send me a little note. Hey, I took it with you, and I already know that. And so yes, absolutely no need to take it again, unless of course you want to. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. And then there was another question from Maria. She said, can I sign up for both Level 1 and 2 at the same time? And during Level 2, will we learn more about how to continue training and participate in Level 3 to know when she's ready for Level 3?
Yes, and there's a discount if you. When somebody was asking me about discounts before, and I think I might have forgot to say this, but if you take Reiki Level 1 and Level 2, there's a discount because there is. And so so I think it's a $48 discount or something. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Because Reiki Level 1 and 2, it's like $310. And normally if you took them one at a time, it's $179 for both. So Christina, what was the question?
Can she sign up for both Level 1 and 2 at the
Yes.
same time?
Yep.
And during Level 2, will they learn more on how to continue with their training
Oh, yes.
for Level 3 and know when they're ready?
Yep. So there's 4 different ways when you register. If you go into RebeccaAustill-Clausen.com/Reiki-Immersion, you'll see, it'll tell you all about the different ways to register. You have Reiki Level 1, Reiki Level 2, Reiki 1 and 2, and then Reiki Master. So if you go into Reiki 1 and 2, that's when you get that price discount. And the way you will know when you're ready for Reiki Level 3, first you have to have at least 6 months experience after you've received a Reiki Level 2 certificate from any Reiki master. You doesn't have to be from me. I just need to see a certificate from a Reiki master that you've had Reiki Level 2 and Reiki Level 1. And then we have an interview for the Reiki master. This girl that I was interviewing yesterday, she had taken Reiki Level 1 and Reiki Level 2 with me last year. It's usually not common for, at least with the people that I work with, for people to immediately the next year become a Reiki master. And so I was interested in talking with her. She's already a craniosacral therapist. She's very spiritual. She runs her own Reiki groups. I mean, she had all these things that she was doing. And I'm like, yes, you're totally ready. It took me 10 years before I fully embraced the Reiki philosophy. And that's what I'm looking for. How are you planning to use Reiki? What are you planning to do with it? What have you been doing already? And when you really want to become a Reiki master, to share the unconditional love and teach it or advance your clinical skills, that's when you're ready. And yes, you do learn about, there's different specialties that you can go into and all of that, but essentially Reiki Level 1 and 2 is all that you need. I mean, that's really all that you need, unless you want to teach or you want to be an advanced Reiki clinician. These are great questions. And Christina, per usual, you're doing an excellent job.
Thank you, Becky. And we still have more questions, so I guess we'll just keep going for a little bit.
Sounds fine.
Our next question is from Kathy. She said that in her spiritual group, they had practiced Lomi Lomi, which originated in Hawaii as a form of group Reiki. She's wondering if it's similar to Reiki in general, and she said it was a fabulous experience.
Oh, far out. I am not familiar with that, but if it's group Reiki, yes, it's absolutely incredible what happens when you're in a group. And the whole energy expands. Some people like to teach Reiki on a one-to-one basis. I prefer groups. Like, I love the group energy because, you know, you think we're all individuals, but essentially we're all connected. Like that's the concept. We're all connected. We're all one. There's something beyond our physical being. There's something, whatever it is, you can call it whatever you want, but there's something beyond us physically. And isn't it exciting to feel that energy from the universe coming through us and then going either to ourselves or to whoever we want to assist in healing? So I would assume that the group energy that you've had in Hawaii, and way to go for Hawaii. I was speaking at the Hawaiian International Association for Near-Death Studies Hawaii group. Whatever, that wasn't said very good grammatically, but on Tuesday, and we had a wonderful time. So I would assume it's very similar.
Thank you. Another question is from Cynthia. She's wondering if you can clarify a bit further your statement about how Reiki helps not looking for love outside of ourselves.
Oh, good, Cynthia. That's a great question. In order for us to heal, and you think, well, I don't need to be healed. But in order for us to feel better about ourselves, we need to love ourselves. And it's not selfish, it's self-care. And so we don't need to look for any more love outside of ourselves. Sometimes when we are not comfortable with ourselves or comfortable with our own skin or comfortable with the situation that we're in, we look for love from other places. But we keep looking and we keep looking and we keep looking because really what we want to do is experience love for ourselves. And it's so pleasant to be able to self-love. And I don't mean in an egotistical way, like it's not egotistical at all. I have studied the afterlife significantly for 26 years, and the common denominator of everybody that has passed over and then come back, that's often called a near-death experience, or with mediums or whatever, the common denominator is love. And so we have love here on earth, we have love in the afterlife, we have love in our heart. We learn with Reiki and with other modalities, but certainly with Reiki, to share love. And we need to have love within ourselves so that we're not looking externally to get it. That was a really interesting question. I hope that answered it for you.
Thank you, Becky. Another question, I think this is a good one. It's from Shoppy Girl, is her name.
That's great.
She said she's tried meditating many times and it doesn't seem like her thing. She's worried about doing a one-to-one session with a partner and not being able to feel any energy or just not, being able to feel what's going on. So she was hoping you might be able to speak to that a little bit.
Sure, it's a great question. Meditating wasn't my thing either. I'm like, my husband and I got married, we've been married, I'm not exactly sure. I should know this. I think it's like 37 years, possibly. And he did transcendental meditation when he was in the 10th grade. So as you can tell, you probably know that I have high energy. And so we get married and he says, hey, Beck, you want to learn how to meditate? And I'm like, no, I don't. There is no way, no way I want to do that, nor is that right for me? But in about 10 years, maybe. And, my brother passed just about 10 years after that. And it's exactly when I started becoming comfortable with hanging out with myself, not having activities, meditating, for lack of a better word. Reiki is a very gentle meditative experience. You don't have to meditate in order to do Reiki. What happens with Reiki, you do need to calm yourself though, because if our minds are going all over the place, it's going to be very hard to concentrate, but Reiki helps us concentrate. And so breathing seems to work well for me and for the people that I teach, but if you have another way to do it, of course, it's totally fine. If you can take a couple of deep breaths try to release things from your brain. And there's all sorts of ways you can do that. And I talk about that more. But anyway, a couple of deep breaths. Ideally, close your eyes because we're so visual. You know, if we can close our eyes, then it helps us go inward a little bit. And then we ask for healing energy to come from the universe. And it is so amazing. You just ask and it goes right through you to the client. And so the first time you do this is the time that people don't feel it. And that's fine. Like, it's totally fine. And it's to be expected. And there's a whole concept about who's going to be your first partner. And it's Zoom. You know, Zoom's the one that automatically does it. But there's a whole philosophy about we're given what we need. And so your first partner, I would think, would be someone that is fairly skilled at relaxation or meditating or whatever. Or if they're not, you would both figure it out together. And that's why we do individual breakout rooms with just 2 people, because it's not scary. You know, you're just with one person, and it's okay to open up with one person. And we're very confidential, and it's not recorded. None of this on the Reiki classes are recorded because of the experiential part. And so most likely the first time, usually the first time, I'd say maybe 30% of the people that send Reiki for the very first time are able to receive it. The second time, whole new partner, individual breakout room, we're probably up to 65% or 70%. It's really quite a big leap between the first and the second. Third time, usually about 90, 95%. It's really extraordinary. And there's no judgment. Sometimes you may not be able to feel it for a couple of days. But most of the time with these experiential sessions, by that third time, you're going to have it. And so be gentle with yourself. Don't worry. It's expected that you're not going to be able to get it right off the bat. And the sessions we have are 7 minutes. We start with a 7-minute session, so it's not long. And it's sort of the way we learn it is you do it with the chakras. And so we learn where the chakras are, and you send energy to the chakra. And then while you're sending energy to the different chakras, the chakras are going to respond. Like, they're going to respond. And you're going to start to feel something. And you'll think, oh, I'm just imagining this. But you're going to feel it. And even if you don't, it's okay and it's normal. Because remember, it's about 30% that first time. But it does get easier. That was a really good question. And I thank you for having the courage to share that.
Thank you, Becky. We have a couple of questions about after-death communication. Lynn was wondering if you're planning on doing your after-death communication course again.
Yes, it's going to be a little different this time. And I'm doing it on the weekend. I have been doing it on 7 weeks, and it's been great and highly effective and just amazing. And I was thinking, what if I did it on the weekend? And what if I had a couple of guest speakers? And so I've got a couple of new guest speakers. One's a physician, one's a PhD scientist, and it's going to be on the weekend of November 5th. Yep, November 5th and 6th. And more information is going to come. I am so excited about it. And those sessions will be recorded, and it's a workshop. So there's going to be actual experiential practice, and you get guided meditations, and you learn all different techniques, and you listen to the stories of these 2 guest speakers, and they're outstanding. Both are authors, and they're excellent. And so, yes, I'm thrilled to be doing that again, and it'll be in the fall.
Thank you, Becky. Another question from Abby was wondering if there's a possibility of experiencing something negative or scary or unsettling with afterlife communication.
Oh, with the afterlife communication? Oh, rarely. Now, one of the things that we talk about during Reiki and also during after-death communication is shielding. And if for some reason, before I go into how you do this, I want to say I've been doing after-death communication for 26 years. There's only been like 3 or 4 times that I've had to really shield myself, and then it went away. And so it doesn't happen all the time. And I'm talking about every single day for, multiple years. I've been doing all of this. The way I recommend shielding, and what shielding is a way to keep your energy within you and not allow your energy to go outside of you to a place that you don't want it to go. And it protects, for lack of a better word, protects somebody's anger or unsettledness from coming into you. And so the technique that I recommend, and there's a variety of ways to do this, but the technique I recommend is, imagine you're in the middle of an egg-shaped glass, a clear glass. It goes above your head, underneath your feet, around you. So you're in the middle of this egg-shaped glass. Usually you set it anywhere from 6 inches to 10 inches from you, from your body. Nothing can penetrate you. And so you practice this. You practice it a couple of times, a good couple of times, where you set up the shield and you visually do not allow anything to pass this shield. And it won't. Like, it really does work. You have to practice it so that you can shield. And the reason you might want to do that is if something doesn't feel right, you learn to trust your heart. Don't second guess yourself. If it doesn't feel good, then set up a shield, and then you don't have to feel it. I recommend taking down the shield as soon as you can, like after 20 minutes or whatever, because it does inhibit our ability to feel. Like, you're right inside this cocoon of glass and your emotions can't really get out too easily, and certainly no one's emotions can get in. And so I'm not a big fan of shielding. I like to be open to what's out there, but some people use it quite a bit more than I do. But my recommendation is to use it only when you need it. Set it up fast, take it down as soon as you can, and then express gratitude, express love. Thank you. Who are you thanking? You're thanking yourself for setting up the shield. You're thanking yourself for protecting yourself, and you're thanking the universe for allowing that shield to happen and to be up there. So hopefully that helps.
Thank you. And then one more related to communication, an anonymous question. Someone said a loved one passed away many years ago and they've never experienced communication with them. And they're wondering if that means that they never will.
Oh, good. First of all, I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. I talk about after-death communication all the time. I don't think there is ever, like, to thousands of people. And when people say that to me, I ask a few questions. I don't think I have ever received I really haven't had communication. And so let me share with you some common signs and symbols of activities that our loved ones use when they pass. It takes a while it can take a while when people pass for them to actually become healed enough to be able to come back and communicate with us. If someone's fairly comfortable with themselves, you may receive communication fairly quickly. You have not. You said you have not. I would say to you, have you ever had a dream with this person in it and after they've passed? Because dreams are 80% of after-death communication occurs in dreams. And so dreams are absolutely a sign that you have received communication. Another one, have you ever got into your car? Have you ever got into your car and had your loved one's favorite song play as soon as you get in? Our loved ones living beyond have a wonderful ability to fool around with electronics. And so car radios, TV shows, when you turn on the TV, if you immediately see your loved one's favorite show, that's a sign. Animals that come right up to you that for some reason remind you of your loved one. It's actually very common for our loved ones to have their souls come into an animal. Not all the time, but so to say to you, hey, this is me, this is me. And so ask yourself if any of those have happened, and be honest with yourself, because you might think, well, maybe one time or whatever. If you really can't think of anything that has happened, I encourage you, when you go to sleep tonight, to get yourself calm, to relax, take a couple of deep breaths, and with your full heart and love, send a message to your loved one that has passed and ask for them to receive your love. I'm sending you my love. I would love to hear from you. And then the next couple of days, keep yourself open, whether it's numbers that remind you of them, or a bird, or an animal, or a symbol, or something happens with the electricity or whatever. I would be really surprised if you didn't hear something. Even there's no time. There's no time except on earth. Because if we live eternally, there's no time. So when you say, they passed a long time ago, that's only for us here on this earth. For them, they're existing in the moment. And that's what mindfulness is, existing in the moment. How can we do that on earth? We learn how to exist in the moment. So I hope that helps.
That was a great answer, Becky.
Thanks.
So we do still have a few questions.
And we probably should like think about closing down pretty soon, but whatever. I love to answer questions.
Someone is sending you lots of love.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. Actually, I could feel it. Thanks.
So I will say some look like they're going to take maybe a little bit more time, asking you to speak about different methods, crystals, chakras.
That's all right. Whatever. You can ask them.
All right. So Patrice then asked a question. She said she's a little overwhelmed with various Reiki schools, trainings, and she's wondering if you can speak to some of the different methods and differences between like chakras and crystals.
Sure. Bottom line, you want to like the person that you're going to get trained from. I mean, that's the bottom line. There's not a right way or a wrong way. It's whatever makes your heart sing. Whatever makes your heart sing. There's all sorts of ways you can expand Reiki. Crystal energy is a blast. I find that resonating with me. I teach that in Reiki Level 2. You learn which crystals resonate with you. Chakras are very common. Chakras are common in pretty much all the Yasui Reiki energy training, because that's a concept that we have energy centers in our body, and they hold and store energy. They also reflect energy, like the base chakra is grounding. Do we want to be grounded in this reality? That then we send more energy to the base chakra. And so there's all sorts of different things. When you think about learning Reiki in one day, hopefully you don't get overwhelmed, because in one day, hopefully you're going to, the way I do it is it's half a day training, half a day experiential. And so you've got 3 hours, and hopefully in 3 hours, you're not going to get overwhelmed. I've taught this dozens of times, and every year I update it with latest research and all that jazz. But, the concept's the same. And so hopefully you don't get overwhelmed. You can specialize in shamanic Reiki. I'm shamanic Reiki trained. There's Karuna Reiki. That's more of a Hawaiian form of Reiki. But that's after. Like, what you really want is the basic Reiki Level 1, and ideally Reiki Level 2 if you want to understand why it works. So hopefully that helps.
Thank you. We have a couple more, and I think that's it. Cheryl was wondering if you're holding for an animal, like one hand on the animal, will Reiki go to you and the animal, or just to the animal?
Good question. I will say constantly that Reiki goes through us. You will feel the effect. You won't feel it overwhelmingly, but when you finish giving Reiki to a pet, to a person, to a client, to yourself, you are going to feel the effect. And so when you have your hand on an animal, for example, what happens after you've been Reiki attuned? And the attunement really is what what makes Reiki special. And the attunement takes approximately 1 minute. It really is quite something. But then you have already learned how to give yourself self-Reiki. And there's a whole thing called the Reiki shower technique where you give yourself a shower with Reiki and things. But the attunement jump starts your ability to feel energy. And that's what makes Reiki effective, in my opinion, is this attunement. That's the difference between Reiki and all these other complementary modalities. And that's why you can learn it in 1 day. So yes, you're going to feel it, but not necessarily. Like, you're not going to feel the pain. Like if you're trying to help your pet heal their hip, there's a technique actually in Reiki Level 2 that we learn. It's a healing touch technique, and it's called the pain drain. And you can drain the pain from the animal down through, comes right through your shoulder, and it goes right out your hand. And you won't feel that internally. If for some reason you find yourself retaining energy, you want to let it go. And we talk about techniques to let that go because it's unnecessary. There's something in you that feels that you need to maintain this energy. You don't. You're just an empty bamboo rod to let the energy flow through you. And so that's what you want to do. You're letting the energy flow through you. So with your pet, you have your hand on your pet, drain the pain, or just send the Reiki, and it's fine. And it's nice. And the animals, like we were talking about, the kids fast, they learn it fast. Animals, a lot of times, maybe like a minute, and then they're going to move away. And it doesn't mean they don't like it. It means that it works that fast.
Thank you, Becky. Our last question is from Jen, and she stuck around. She just said that she was signing up for the Reiki 1 and 2 with the payment plan, tried to use one of the discount codes and got a message saying it was invalid. So she just wanted you to know. I figured maybe you'll email her, but.
Jen, will you send me an email? Because I need to know like which group you're in and all that jazz. And so please email me, and I'll be very glad to assist. And I'm so excited that you're interested in signing up for Reiki Level 1 and 2. And it's been a blast talking with everybody. Christina, you are so pleasant to work with. Thank you so very much. And everybody, thank you so very much for being here. It's really so honoring that you're listening to all of this, and it's so fun. Like, Reiki is a blast, and to me it's like absolutely incredible that we can learn how to use our own natural healing energy to heal ourselves and others, and learn it in 1 day. Now, some Reiki classes take a couple of days. The way I do it, you learn it in 1 day. There's not a right way or a wrong way. It just depends on what resonates with you. And so thank you so very much, everybody. And there is going to be an encore next Saturday. And so I think we're going to send out that. We've decided that because we've had a variety of people say that they would like it. And so it's going to be next Saturday, February 12th. And we'll have that, and then recording comes out a couple of days after that. So thank you all so very much. You're totally awesome. And I hope you have a great day filled with love. Lots of love to you all, always and forever. Hope you have a great day. Thank you.